Fabulous. Okay, so welcome to the presentation about cybersecurity and IT services, which we've got the amazing Rutland Smith from Harvey Norman IT Services. Welcome, welcome. Great to have you here.
Thank you, Kelly. I don't often get introduced as amazing, so I'll take that one.
Fabulous. Well, so Rutland is here to do a bit of a presentation, but we're going to do a lot of question answering as well. So, if you have any queries or questions, please note them down or put them in the chat box, and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. But we're obviously here mainly to talk about cybersecurity because it is a big deal at the moment, especially with all the major firms getting hacked and Optus and those kinds of things. So it's really important that we know what's going on in the world and how we can protect us. So I am going to hand over to Rutland to do his presentation, and then yes, please put the comments and questions in the chat, and we'll get to those.
Thanks, Kelly. Good morning, everyone. And I just want to start by saying that in a short presentation, it's not possible to cover every aspect of cybersecurity. But what we will do today is talk a lot about the new partnership that we've put together with Bookkeepers Support and how that partnership is going to work to try and assist you with your cybersecurity and also potentially assist your clients with their cybersecurity. Obviously, it's a huge issue in the marketplace at the moment, and we've got a number of solutions that we'll be working on as part of our partnership with Bookkeepers Support, and I'll touch on those today. The second thing I'd say is I didn't want to kind of lecture you for an hour. I've kept the presentation relatively short because I'd much rather answer your questions. So please, be enthusiastic and ask as many questions as you'd like. And the starting point really for today is to talk about the fact that there's a lot of pressure on you as bookkeepers to protect the very sensitive data that you have. Sorry, that skipped forward one. And, that pressure comes from a number of different places. Obviously, there's the Privacy Act. And in the Privacy Act, your businesses are actually mentioned because anyone that deals with tax file numbers has additional obligations that they have to follow. And in particular, they're not exempt if they turn over less than $3 million. So as you probably already know, any breach, you have to notify the Australian Information Commissioner, and that can have a disastrous consequences for your reputation and for your business going forward. On top of that, you've got the Tax Agent Services Act and all of the obligations that that puts on top of you. And then, of course, there's your professional services and associations and the standards that that applies to you. I don't think you need me to really talk you through the intricacies of that. I think the point simply is that there's a lot of obligations on you to protect your client data. And we're really here to try and help you meet those obligations so that you don't get yourself into any trouble. Similarly, with your clients, they still have a duty of care to protect their customer data. And we're also hoping that we can help them moving forward. And I think it's not unfair to kind of describe the fact that most small businesses in Australia, I'm sorry, this keeps skipping forward. Most small businesses in Australia are nowhere near compliant, and they really just don't have the necessary systems and the necessary understanding of cybersecurity to make their business compliant with what they're required to do under their duty of care to their customers. And I'm sure you see that every day of the week with your clients. And the reason I bring that up is to give you a clear understanding of what the problem is in the marketplace so that you can get a clear understanding of what the solution is that we're offering in partnership with Bookkeepers Support. And one of the big issues is that a lot of businesses believe that they're too small to be attacked. And this is a really dangerous assumption. The statistics on the screen here are from a government website. They're based on government statistics, so they're highly credible. And the most important one there is that 43% of cyber criminals attack small businesses. So the assumption that they're only attacking big businesses like Optus and Medibank and Latitude, they're the ones you read about in the newspapers, but they're actually attacking a lot of small businesses. And we see it all the time in our business because people often reach out to us after they've been attacked. And a lot of the businesses being attacked are small. And the reason for this is pretty simple. The cyber criminals have worked out that most small businesses don't have the right protections in place. So they're an easy target. And unfortunately, with cyber criminals, they will take the shortcuts because if they can go out and attack a lot of small businesses, they can make a lot of money without having to do the more difficult task of attacking really large organizations that have great protections in place. So more and more what we're seeing is the cyber criminals are attacking small businesses just like yours and small businesses just like your clients. And the problem with that is that the cost of an attack is just so high. So once again, these are from the government statistics. The average cost of an attack on a small business, and this is specifically for small businesses, is $46,000. So for many small businesses, this is life-threatening to the business. Now we see attacks of all different sizes. Some are much smaller than 46, some are much larger than 46, but we believe that average is about right. And one of the reasons you don't hear about this all the time is because when small businesses get attacked, they generally don't tell anyone about it. And I'll tell you a little story to highlight that. We were called into a customer recently. I won't share their details, but they work in a major regional town and they sell cars. They're a car sales organisation, and they got breached. Unfortunately, they weren't running any security other than the kind of standard home security like a Norton or one of those products. They just didn't have a really comprehensive business security package. And when they got breached, the criminals were quite clever in that they spent nearly 3 months watching how they behave, and they went undetected for 3 months. They waited until the business had a peak trading period, and they sent out from the business's email address invoices for all of the car deposits with the criminal's bank account details on it rather than the actual bank account details on it. Now, these guys were so oblivious to what was going on, they didn't know anything had happened until customers started ringing up saying, where's my car? I paid my deposit 3 weeks ago. Where's my car? When they finally got around to investigating it, the criminals had gotten away with over $300,000 worth of deposits. So you can see how easily it happens and you can see how much it can cost. The reason I tell you that story is because they were then faced with the difficult decision of, do we tell the customers that they've paid the money into the wrong bank account, right? And the effect that that would have in their reputation, remembering that they really worked in a big country town, so everybody knows each other. Or do they wear the $300,000 loss themselves and not tell anyone what had happened? And they made the decision to do it the second way, right? So they wore the $300,000 loss and they kept it a secret. And that's really, I think, important information for you to understand because this is happening all the time to small businesses, but they're not telling you about it because it's bad for their reputation. And so there's this impression that if you're small, you don't get attacked, whereas it couldn't be further from the truth. Everybody gets attacked, including small businesses. So that's really one of the problems that we've been trying to solve with the launch of Harvey Norman Technology for Business. And when you think of Harvey Norman, you think of loud TV ads, you think of shops, you think of furniture, bedding, etc. And we're really an extension of the Harvey Norman business. We don't operate out of a shop. We operate nationally. We work closely with the shops, but you need to think about us as being like an IT department for small businesses across Australia. And if anyone's ever worked for a large business, you know what it's like to work in with an enterprise grade IT department. That department locks down your machine, it prevents you from installing bad malicious software. It's monitored 24 hours a day by the security experts in the company. There's a help desk, there's a backup function. Everything's just taken care of for you when you're working in a large business. And I'm sure many of you have had that experience. What we've done is we've said, well, why don't we provide exactly that experience, but instead of what large businesses do, where they provide it to lots of departments, we provide that experience to lots of small businesses. And we do that at a relatively cheap price because we effectively share the IT department with all of our clients from all around Australia. So effectively, they get the same level of enterprise grade protection that they would get if they were working for a large business, but they get it at a small business price. And a good example of that is that we have a team of nearly 200 people who sit in our security operations centre. And these people are all cybersecurity experts. And they monitor every single one of our clients' devices. And if anything suspicious happens, these experts get involved. And that can be anything from cleaning up a fairly simple attack to actively fighting a very sophisticated attack. I kind of joke, it's like a room full of cyber nerds that look something like the control center of NASA. But these are really smart people, and they're at your disposal if you're one of our clients. And I'll give you an example of how that operates. Recently, we had a number of very sophisticated attacks on a welding business that is one of our clients in northwestern Australia. And I like to talk about this example because the last thing you would expect is for a welding business to be a target for cyber criminals. These were actually quite sophisticated attacks. They weren't the sort of thing that teenagers write. They were really quite complex. And our guys were monitoring it. Of course, it happened in the middle of the night. Because we do it 24 hours a day, we reacted to it immediately as soon as we got an alert, and we were able to fight off the attack. Interestingly, they came back again the next night, and we fought it off again the next night. And we're trying to work out why is someone doing such a sophisticated attack on a welder? And our best theory is that they were trying to do what's called a supply chain attack, which is when they attack somebody so that they can then use them to attack someone else. And the reason we think that was the case is because this welder would often go out and work on the oil rigs on the Northwest Shelf. And so we think they were trying to compromise their laptops so that when they went and connected to the network out on the oil rigs, that might have given them an opening to attack the oil rigs networks. So you can just see how hard it is to predict, but you can also see the quality of the service that we're offering. It's really second to none, and I think we're offering something that's quite fantastic. And to give you an example of that, I'll just show you how our help desk operates. So every one of our customers gets access to the Harvey Norman help desk. We install that little H for Harvey Norman help in the bottom right-hand corner of all of the devices. And the customers can access our help desk. This group of people is nearly 200 people, and they're all highly trained engineers. This is a different group of people to the Security Operations Centre. These are help desk people who are there simply to answer your queries and help you out when you're having technical issues. By accessing the help desk via the chat function, you are immediately connected to one of those engineers, and they're able to take remote control of your devices. And I can see questions come in, and I'll come to that at the end. But they're able to take control of your devices and fix it for you, which is fantastic. It's really the next quality of service, because what we've done is we've implemented advanced bullseye routing, which means that when anyone calls in from a specific business, almost every time they get directed to the same 4 or 5 people. And that allows our help desk technicians to develop a relationship with you, but it also allows them to become more efficient because they have a good understanding of your environment. Now, they also have access to the other 200 people and the multitude of certifications that they have. So we have experts in pretty much everything on that help desk. But so if they can't fix it themselves, they've got someone there who can assist them with it. And I really just showing you that as a very simple example of the high quality of the service that we are offering to you. This is a fairly standard industry slide, and obviously I don't want to go into the details of all of these technical features. All I really suppose I'm trying to highlight here is that to protect businesses, you require a multi-layered approach to cybersecurity. An example I use is it's a bit like protecting your home. You know, you lock the doors, you lock the windows, you put in an alarm, you might put in cameras, you might then have a security guard drive past on a regular basis. There's a whole range of things that you can do that are all different layers of security. And for businesses, it's essential that we implement a whole different range of security layers. And that's what we do in terms of assisting our customers. So let me talk to you quickly about the relationship with Bookkeepers support. We are really excited to be working with Bookkeepers support. Our goal here isn't to kind of have a one-off webinar and never talk to you again. Our goal here is to provide regular training, and today is simply just an overview so you understand for future type conversations. We'll be offering special offers for you. We'll be offering special offers for your clients. And at the moment, if you go to our webpage, which I'll give you shortly, there are already a number of special offers there available to you. We also have in place a referral program for people who are interested. The referral program allows you to receive a referral commission for introducing your clients, or if you prefer, you can use that referral commission as a discount for your clients moving forward. And you'll have our contact details to find out more about that. We'll also be providing you with regular information for you to provide to clients. So we'll send you out regular kind of emails, which will have things like tips and tricks. For example, you know, we recommend everybody turns on multi-factor authentication. The statistics are less than 50% of businesses have multi-factor authentication turned on. We'll provide you with some messages that you can share with your clients that show them how they can turn on multi-factor authentication. And really, we're just looking for partnerships with you to assist your clients and also to assist you in whatever way we can. You might be interested in running a local event where you invite your clients along and we do a presentation on cybersecurity. You might have a specific request for certain cybersecurity content for your clients. I think the point I'm making here is we're really keen to work with you, and what we can do together is very much just limited by your imagination. So we're almost at the end, so we can dive into the questions. But the most important thing is that you understand that if you want to find out more, you can go to our partnership webpage, The link's just been posted in the chat. You can take a screenshot or take a photograph of this page, which shows you where that is. At the moment, there's a number of articles, there's a number of short videos. There's also a special offer where you can receive a discount if you decide to sign up. And we haven't told Kelly yet, but we've also launched an offer yesterday, which is that anybody who signs up for a program before June 30 will have their setup and installation fees waived. So bonus setup and installation for anything, anyone who signs up before June 30. Sorry, I'm reading the questions while I'm talking. I'm a typical man. I can't multitask. So that's the end of the formal part of the presentation. I'm going to quickly hand back to Kelly for a comment, and then I think we'll dive into the questions.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That was very detailed, and the stats and figures are so correct. I mean, I've personally been had the challenge of my emails got hacked several years ago. My website got hacked, and that set me back quite some time and some money. So to be able to, to have that kind of support and that kind of availability can certainly help with, protecting myself. And I've had clients also who have sent out a PDF, what do you call it? PDF invoices, and again, the
fake invoices,
fake,
scams.
and it came directly from MyOp, so, or Xero or whatever they were using at the time. So, understand that that's the case at the moment. So,
It's happening
that's
all
why
the
I'm
time.
really big on this. Really big on this. So here's the website. So you can go and duck into that, and you can book an appointment. You can have a look at, all the information that we've got in there for you. Essential 8 framework. It talks about the data breaches and everything that, we can do together to try and protect ourselves from cybersecurity risks, which they are pretty high. So you can look at the services which is available for you and the packages and pricing. And as Rutland said, they've got a special for you at the moment. So, that gives you all the information on that, on the website. And it's just taking forever to start up. I do apologize for that. But yeah, so you can book an appointment and get, a specific package that's designed for you, that covers everything that you need covered off. And that's what we're kind of going for here, is for you guys to protect yourselves and to have a conversation and just make sure that you've got everything covered. Because I know that, most of the time we don't realize that our cybersecurity insurance won't cover us unless we've done everything we possibly can to prevent the breach. And that's the last thing that you want.
That's correct. With many of our customers, one of the first things we do is ask them if they have cyber insurance, and then we check if they're compliant with their cyber insurance. And in about 95% of cases, they're not compliant, and that's because the insurance companies put in a whole lot of legal language and make it hard to understand. And require you to basically install a lot of those cybersecurity layers I was talking about before.
Yeah.
So yeah, the insurance is an interesting one.
Yes, it's a bit of a challenge. So we've got a couple of questions here. So do you do a security audit of devices that your clients use?
Yes, and I'm glad someone's asked this question. So we can do a security audit, and we do that against the government framework called the Essential 8. If you ever want some good stuff to send you to sleep, go to the government's Essential 8 website. I can guarantee you'll go to sleep quickly. It's a highly complicated framework of things that you are supposed to do to protect your business. It's important you know about it because it's the Essential 8 is what the courts use to determine whether you've discharged your duty of care. We do that security audit against the Essential 8 framework. And we actually have a special offer for all members of Bookkeeper Support, which is we will do a free security audit for your business. You just have to reach out to us through the webpage, and at no charge at all, we will do a security audit of your business. That audit is done by engineers. It's quite a complicated audit. It's not one of those automatic things that gets generated by a web page. It's actually, you'll meet with an engineer. They will go through a whole range of questions, and then they will produce a report for you, showing you what you're satisfied, where you've missed out, and making recommendations on what you should prioritize.
Beautiful. And what software do you recommend to have installed? I mean, there's a lot of different softwares that kind of work together. So I'm assuming it's not one size fits all.
No, and it's very hard to kind of answer that question because there are a very lot of good products out there in the marketplace, and I don't want to say our product is the only good product, because there's other good ones out there. Any kind of reputable brand, and I suppose when we come in and we manage the IT for our customers, we use our own stack of security software, and there are a whole range of products that we use. Most of them you would never have heard of because they're kind of back end stuff that IT departments use. But one of the things I do say is when you're working with an IT service provider, it's very important that you understand that that market is not regulated. So some people in the security space are really good to deal with, and they're experts at what they're doing. Some have, are self-taught and they're cowboys, and you just have to be really careful who you work with in this space.
Fair enough. Janelle was just saying that even with multi-factor authentication, she was recently locked out of her Facebook account because of suspicious activity. Well, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, and I certainly can't fix everything there is to do with Facebook.
No.
They are,
A whole other
quite
beast.
quite often brought up in these conversations. I've certainly come across a lot of people who've had a lot of issues with Facebook, because the problem is you do get locked out and then you can't get a hold of anybody to fix it.
Yes.
And the only person who can fix it is, the only people who can fix it are the people at Facebook. No one else can help you with that. What I can say is if you don't have multi-factor authentication turned on, then you are significantly more at risk of having your Facebook account hijacked. And I think there's some statistics that if you do turn on multi-factor authentication, it reduces your chances of being hijacked by about 92%. So even though Janelle's had a bad experience there, I would still encourage you to turn on multi-factor authentication. Janelle, if you want to reach out to us through the website after this, we have some contacts at Facebook, and we can perhaps give you some advice on who to talk to. Not guaranteeing it'll fix it, but we can at least give you some hints as to where are the right places to go to get sorted.
Fabulous. Adele, something I've always wondered, is there a more secure browser to use, like Chrome, Edge, etc.? I'm never sure which one is the best. That's a good question.
That is a good question, Adele, and the answer is, like a lot of these situations, they both have their pros and cons. It doesn't really matter which one you use. The more important thing is that you have the settings set up correctly. So for all of our clients, one of the things that we do is we do a thing called application hardening. And what that does is we go in and look at most of your programs, your Microsoft Office, your browser, and whatever you're using, and we then go and adjust all of the security settings to make it more secure. But in terms of which browser to use or which one not to use, I really don't have a preference. I use multiple browsers. The trick is getting the settings set up correctly. And I noticed we missed a question, which is what sort of pricing?
Yes. So the pricing's on the website, isn't it? Or do we have to make an appointment through the
uh,
web?
the pricing's on the website. There's a little bit of work to be done in terms of getting a good understanding of a business to give you an exact quote. But we've deliberately tried to make it affordable for small businesses.
Yes.
So we start at $99 a month per user.
Mm.
And
Which
I
for
know
peace
that
of
can,
mind, I think that's bloody amazing.
well, I know that can add up, but it's a multi-million-dollar service that we're offering.
Mm.
And when you think about the fact that your whole business is at risk, the average cost of a breach is $46,000. It's very cheap compared to the risk.
Yeah, absolutely. And the risk of your reputation and things like that as well.
Mm.
Um, Sharon said it's interesting that trying to look for a good antivirus software. So many people are of the belief that Windows Defender is sufficient, but I don't believe that to be true. I'm with you, Sharon. I don't think that's true.
It
It's
uh,
not enough.
it well, it's interesting. I mean, Microsoft have several different levels of Defender. So there's the consumer version of Defender, which comes free.
Mm-hmm.
But Microsoft themselves then offer a business version of Defender that you have to pay for. So I think even the fact that Microsoft have a level above suggests to you that they know that the consumer version is only a very basic version. And I keep coming back to, when you're running a business and you're protecting really sensitive data like people's financial information, you've got to have multiple layers of protection in place. I would certainly never recommend a customer use Consumer Defender, but I think the business version of Defender is very good, but you have to pay for it. And then, it's very similar to a number of other security products. And, I don't sort of want to say that one's better or worse than the other. I simply would say that the business version is the bare minimum for someone like, who's running a business.
Yeah. Beautiful. Janelle, thanks. She's back into Facebook, but didn't realize how dependent she was on Facebook at the time. I think we're all a bit dependent on Facebook. Um,
Uh, it's a strong marketing tool. It's very powerful.
yes. Janine, thank you for bringing up the Essential 8 guidelines. I showed this to our IT company and wanted to review this and our process that we had in place. I think it's somehow gone down to the bottom of their pile in the too hard basket for them, I feel.
So Janine, please take us up on our offer of a free
Mm.
cybersecurity assessment. Um, uh, Generally, we get that done within 1 to 2 weeks of you contacting us. Just depends a little bit on how quickly we get all the necessary information from you. The fact that you've got an existing IT company is good because you're obviously protecting your business. But as part of our cybersecurity audit, what we can do for you is give you an independent assessment of whether that IT company is doing everything that they should be doing. And I want to assure you that it is an independent assessment. If we come along and we find an IT company is doing everything right, we don't make up a report to make them look bad and try and sell you something. Obviously, Harvey Norman's got a brand that's much more reliable than that. If we find they're doing everything right, we'll give you a report that says they're doing everything right. It's really good what they're doing, and keep it up. But similarly, if we find that there's a whole lot of holes, we'll give you that information as well, and you can then make a decision as to how you want to handle that.
Beautiful. Excellent. Heather, Facebook is a good avenue for advertising and getting your name out there, but never rely on one platform. That is true. Putting all eggs in one basket. With Facebook AI now, your account can be canned for using one incorrect word like organ or doofus. Doofus, really?
Doofus.
Wow. Context is irrelevant, but you find your account restricted for 7 to 30 days or longer. Wow, I really didn't know that. Does your free cybersecurity assessment apply to us even if we don't become clients?
Uh, I'll make a comment on Heather's remark as well. But Janelle, yes, the free cybersecurity assessment is in place to give you a overview of what you're doing. obviously, we're hopeful that we can get you to become a client at some point in the future. That's why we offer it. But we offer it knowing that not every single person who gets an assessment will become a client, and that's okay. And it's absolutely free, no obligation to become a client. The comment I'd make on Heather's remark and some of the other remarks is, it's one thing to have security on your Facebook, security built into your financial product. For example, you might be using Xero or MYB or QuickBooks. But if you don't have security built into your Windows, you're at great risk of those things being compromised. And I'll give you an example. Um, if a hacker sends you a malicious link and you click on it, you may not be aware, but in the background, they will have a keylogger memorizing and reporting on everything that you write. Sooner or later, it will capture you entering your password into Xero or Facebook or whatever it is you're using. And that will happen because your Windows security isn't accurate, or sorry, isn't strong enough. So we highly recommend that you get your whole device secure so that it doesn't put you at risk of them compromising the programs that you use.
Excellent. Yes, cost is a consideration, Janelle, absolutely. Especially with the a lot of people losing clients at the moment for various reasons, selling up and closing and liquidating and those kinds of things. Yeah, so that's fantastic. I mean, I definitely, cybersecurity is such a big thing, and we definitely need to protect ourselves. So I do recommend that you do jump on and just have the security assessment done, and just figure out whether it's going to work for you, or even if you find that you've got all these gaps, at least someone who can fill those gaps and fix those problems. Because the last thing you need is to be hacked. I mean, it took me months, and I got hacked twice for my emails. So it took me months to not only track down everyone that it sent it out to, but it also, because it hacked my emails. So it sent it out to my customer list, but it also sent it out to other people's customer lists. So there was all these different, like, thousands of people that I had to get in touch with and say, don't open it, I've been hacked, da 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 da. And that was really hard because I was trying to get Bookkeepers support off the ground at that time, as well as having my own bookkeeping practice. And then my website got hacked, and then it got blacklisted for quite some time. So, and coming back from that, because I couldn't get payments, I couldn't get anything set up because it was lost all through that. So now I've got some really good high grade security on the website. For that reason, I don't want to be blacklisted again, because that's where most of my income comes from now. So I definitely recommend getting it checked at the very least. Now, yeah, an email spoof, yeah, PDFs can be compromised. Absolutely, Heather. We've had that problem with clients and their invoices going out, and somehow in between the MYOB and the client, it's changed the bank details. So you absolutely, it does happen. And yes, if they don't check the email addresses also, there's a lot of spoofs that we always put in the pages as well. So we really want to make sure that we're not getting duped ourselves as well as our clients. Yes, so
It's the number one type of attack that we see on small businesses.
wow.
It's the fake invoice scam, and I'm sure many of you have clients who process large amounts of money, and we're seeing a trend where the cyber criminals are focusing on businesses which send out large invoices. For example, we had a business recently in Sydney, and they were a pool company. And as you can imagine, the progress payments when you're getting a pool installed are quite high.
Mm,
And they got compromised, and they were sending out invoices for approximately $20,000 each. Fortunately, one of their customers rang up and said, "This has got new bank account details. Are you aware of it?" And they were lucky that they didn't lose any money. And then they
mm,
came and talked to us afterwards about protecting things. And I'm completely respectful of the fact that everyone has cost pressures at the moment. I'm a franchisee of this business. I've been a small business person for 30 years. I absolutely understand cost pressures.
Mm.
But the reality is, you've got to assess the cost versus the risks. And there's some statistics coming out of the US at the moment. 60% of businesses that get hacked go out of business within 6 months.
Mm.
And that's because the cost is so high to fix it, and
Yeah.
because the damage to your reputation is so bad that you lose a large percentage of your customers. So it's one of those things. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Mm.
But obviously, the return on investment and what you can actually reduce in terms of risk, it really makes the pricing look very good value.
Yeah, well, Janelle just said that, she saw this type of fraud way back in 2017, and the client lost like $50,000. So, that was an email intercepted again. So it is a big deal, and clients can lose so much money. So having this on board for them, for you, can also help them if they also have that coverage and that information to move them forward.
Yeah,
Um,
and that was pre-COVID, and
yes.
post-COVID, the amount of tax
Oh,
has just gone through the roof.
massively.
Most people in the industry now say it's not a matter of if you get attacked, it's now a matter of when will you get attacked.
Yeah. Narelle, this is also new to me. Do you need to have all your devices, laptops, PCs, mobile phones, I'll include that one, that use security assessed, or does this just relate to your business domain name? Hope that makes sense. So it's across your
Does
devices.
it does make sense, Narelle, and without going into all the technicalities, the reality is you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Mm.
So you can't have half of your devices secure and then the other half aren't secure, because they'll come in through the weakest link.
Mm.
Having said that, there are things that can be done to set you up so that certain devices require less attention. For example, if you are using phones and you only have them accessing email, you don't need anywhere near the level of protection on those phones that you need on your PCs, where you're accessing, sensitive data like your client's financial records. So it's different levels for different types of devices, but you do have to have your whole network secure. Otherwise, it's kind of like locking all the doors in your house but leaving one window open. That if there's a window open, you may as well not lock them, because they'll come in through that window.
Yeah, absolutely. Janelle just wanted to know what the it's about the legislation. Don't you have to report breaches? Yes, we did cover that in the first slide. Who was that entity that we
Yeah,
report to?
it's the oh, I'm just forgotten the name. Australian Information Director. I'll just bring it up again.
Yep.
But the thing is, sorry, Office of the Australian Information Commissioner, OAIC.
At the beginning of the webinar, so you'll be able to see
So the thing
it.
is that in Australia we have an exemption for businesses that turn over less than $3 million.
Mm.
So any business that turns over less than $3 million is exempt from reporting. Having said that, that exemption doesn't apply if you're dealing with tax file numbers. So you can be turning over much less than $3 million, and you still have to do a notifiable data breach, which is quite a big job, right? It's a lot of work to get that in and to deal with that office and everything that they require from you.
Mm.
Interestingly, the government has announced that they're going to delete that exemption for small businesses. So for a lot of your clients who currently don't have to do notifiable data breach,
Mm.
in the future they're going to have to do notifiable data breach, because the government said they're going to repeal that section of the Privacy Act.
Oof. Yay for more legislation.
More regulations, more red tape, what we all need.
Yep. Sharon, what happens if you work from home and your kids have laptops that go to school and back? Do you need to have all that checked too? Because the school certainly doesn't allow the certain things, but it can cause issues accessing the school network.
Yeah, we would work with you to isolate those laptops on your network. More than likely, what we would do is we would create two networks in your home, one for the business devices and one for the school devices. And that way they're separated and we're able to keep your information protected without having to touch or do any work with the kids' laptops. Depend a little bit on your situation. We'd consult with you, but we wouldn't put all of your kids' laptops on the same protection package. Firstly, that would cost you a lot more than necessary. Secondly, your kids would get really cranky because they wouldn't be able to access half the things they like to access. So the way we would more than likely fix that is set up two separate networks on your router.
Yep. Excellent. Janelle, I don't understand how a company can keep a breach secret. Well, I don't. Well, yeah, that's an interesting one. They can choose not to tell anyone, but that's. And does it apply to your recent Facebook hack? I wouldn't think Facebook hack would be a problem because you're not transmitting financials across that.
Yeah,
One.
so
Yeah.
the notifiable data breach applies if there is a risk of there being any harm done to your clients. So your Facebook hack doesn't affect your clients, so you're not required to do a notifiable data breach under the Privacy Act under that example. The question about how other companies keep a breach secret, they shouldn't be doing it if they turn over more than $3 million. That's against the law. If they turn over less than $3 million, they're currently exempt, so they don't have to notify. And I come back to the example of the car yard. Most of my clients turn over less than $3 million. Most of them don't want damage done to their reputation, so they fix it. They don't tell the clients, and they keep it to themselves, and that's because they don't want the reputational damage. As I said, the government is now of the view that that's wrong, so they're changing the legislation, and going forward, everybody, no matter how small a business, will have to do notifiable data breach compliance, which is going to be interesting because I've got no idea how, a small, business like a one person tradesperson, I don't know how they're going to even, keep track of that because without help from someone, they just won't be able to do it.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Yes, yes, this is being recorded, so everyone will get a link to the recording once we've done that. VPNs, are they as good as what they say they are?
Good question. Yes, in my opinion, VPN is a very useful tool. Depends very much on your situation and your circumstances. And I come back to that earlier slide about having a multi-layered approach. So a VPN in isolation doesn't fix everything, but having a VPN in combination with a number of other security layers is highly recommended.
Mm. Excellent. All right. Do we have any other questions?
I'm loving all these questions. It's great.
They're fabulous. We're
I was
covering
worried.
a lot.
I was worried we'd finish the presentation and get silence. So this is excellent.
This is fabulous. All right, so we'll just wait another minute for anyone that has any last minute questions, and then we'll let you all go, and we'll send you the recording so that you can go back through the information that all the stats and where you need to report to and the changes. Great presentation. Thank you. Thanks, Rutland. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Very
This is
informative. Wonderful. Thank you.
what a nice bunch of people you are. I love it.
Yes, they're pretty awesome. Bookkeepers are
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. And look,
Yeah.
we're here to help. I make no, bones about it. We'd like you all to become customers, and we'd like all your clients to become customers. But our approach is to provide you with free education and free advice so that you can get a clear understanding of what the risks are. So
Mm.
don't feel afraid to ask any questions. Don't be worried that we're going to come to you with the hard sell. We will just keep answering your questions and keep helping you, and hopefully get to a point where we're helping you with your clients as well. We really want to build a long-term relationship with you guys. So thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Absolutely. Just another question here from Fallon. Is it possible for a breach to occur through a staff member when they're using an app for work, for example, Employment Hero? So if they're doing an onboarding, so they're entering details of their personal information from their home computer, can a breach occur from that affects their network?
Good question. Normally, we encourage you to lock down your employees' computers.
Mm.
That does become complicated if you don't own their computer, if they're using their own personal computer.
Yeah.
At that point, what we recommend is that you um, uh, only give them limited access to what you have. So, for example, a product like Employment Hero has relatively good security built into it as a cloud application.
Mhm.
But what may happen is that customers' password might get, so the staff member's password might get compromised, because if they don't have great security on their computer, there could be a keylogger sitting in the background monitoring them and capturing their passwords.
Mm.
That would compromise their access to Employment Hero, but it wouldn't compromise their access to the rest of your network. Where it could get really interesting is if they're also using your M365 account. If they're using your M365 account and they got compromised, then that's where the hackers can get in and they can start doing a lot of damage, for example, around sending out the fake invoices.
Yeah.
So our advice with all employees is that make the investment in buying them a device and then lock that device down so that you've got control over it.
Perfect. All
Uh,
right. Staff members use their own phones for apps to access rosters. They have limited user access. So yeah, so that should be fine.
that's no issue. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
no issue at all.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Rutland. I really appreciate your time and coming on and explaining this to everyone. It definitely gave us a lot of food for thought, and I hope people take you up on your offer. And if you need to access it, it's on my website. The link is on my website in the resources section as well. So if you didn't take it from here, Heather, Quiet and Lining Security can be as something simple as being careful about the sites you visit and purchase from. A new website can be quite problematic, especially around Christmas when people are looking to snag a bargain. That's when compromised websites may pop up. Yep, you're absolutely right. You've got to watch out for those sites as well. And I mean, if you've got good IT, then you should be able to get alerted to those sites pretty quickly. So it'll help you avoid
Yes.
those kind of dramas.
Yeah, we address that with web filtering as part of our service.
Fabulous.
And we also provide monthly security training to you and all of your staff so that you become quite proficient at spotting what to look for.
Fabulous. Excellent. All right. Well, we'll stop it there. Thank you, everyone, for attending. We really appreciate your time. And I'll send you out the recording very soon. Have a fabulous day.
Thanks, everyone. It was
Thank
lovely to
you.
meet you all. And I agree, bookkeepers are wonderful people.
Take care. Thank you. Thanks,
All right.
Rutland.